Hey, what is going on, guys? This is DK, back at you with another video here. We're taking on the 3-game early slate as well as the 6-game main slate for CSGO on Wednesday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, XFL, and esports daily fantasy sports slates. Esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, as well as CSGO, which we'll be talking about in this video. So, before we get into the early and the main slate, I guess what we can do is we can take a look back at my lineup from Tuesday. So Tuesday had a disappointing night once again. Been a little rough patch here the last three or 4 days. The FaZe guys, they were the ultimate chalk on this slate, and a lot of them were letdowns, including Nico, who was a massive letdown. He had been putting up huge numbers, basically showing a floor of about 60, 70 fantasy points with upside for over 100. And he had the best matchup of the day here against Movistar Riders. FaZe were the biggest favorites going into the day. And he just absolutely laid an egg, 44 kills, 53 deaths. Just took a back seat, honestly. Now, FaZe did still pull off the win. But, man, it was ugly here at the box scores here. So, yeah, Nico, their best player, was actually -9. Everyone else was in the positives. Brokey was my favorite player in the mid-range there for FaZe. He was +11. I brought up Olafmeister as well as value. He was okay, +4. But, yeah, FaZe was just, you really expected 2-0 there. And it just goes to show that anything can happen here. But, yeah, Nico doing that bad in this type of matchup was really, really surprising. He was really chalky. In the $10 or what was the $15 tournament, and really, really chalky in the higher dollar tournaments. But yeah, he was just a complete letdown there. Really, really surprised about that one, to be honest. Did not see that one coming at all. Yeah, I kind of hinted that I might take shots on some of those guys for underdogs, guys like the C9 guys, as well as Orglis. Now, the Orglis Gen G game did end up getting canceled because Orglis disbanded, so obviously I did not target anyone there. The C9 side, I liked Floppy and MOTM as being my favorite plays. They were, a little bit of letdown. Now, C9 did win, but it was actually OC who had a really good day. Sonic kind of came out of nowhere, so just one of those days for me for CSGO. Just a forgettable one for sure. Again, we've really seen recently Floppy has been carrying this team. He just had an off game today. MOTM, I liked his price. It was Sonic who kind of came out of nowhere, had a big day, and OC was dominating with ADP. So, yeah, again, forgettable day for me. The two Astralis guys with Device and ZipX, told you guys I like those guys a lot, as well as Dupree. I originally had 3 in my lineup, but switched to 2, so I figured I wanted to shoot for the stars a little bit in my GPP lineup. But then again, I want Olafmeister. He was pretty solid for his price at a really cheap, I think he was like 5K. But yeah, all in all, again, a frustrating day for me. The huge letdown on Nico. He's in my captain spot, so I knew basically my day was over when he was just laying an egg there in a really, really good matchup. And then again, the C9 guys, even though they won, the 2 guys that I played had off days. So yeah, forgettable day for myself. Well, let's see if we can bounce back here strong for the slates here on Wednesday. All right, so let's take a look at some Vegas odds here. We have 3 games for the early slate. So the Copenhagen Flames versus G2. G2 -650 favorites. North versus Godsent. North are -155 favorites. And Contact with Mouse Esports. Mouse Esports -600 favorites. So we have a couple big favorites in one game that is projected to stay close. But hey, you never know, right? We just saw what Movistar Riders did to FaZe. We saw Fnatic go down to Dignitas. So sure, these guys are big dogs, but doesn't mean you can count them out. So let's talk about the G2 side. So the G2 side, there actually is a decent amount to like here, in my opinion. Again, they are pretty heavy dogs. They're going to be pretty popular. Nexa, Hunter, Kenny S, price at the top. Nexa at 9.2, Hunter at 9K. Hunter had a off game, back-to-back kind of off games for him. I think I still prefer him to Nexa. It's close. I know Nexa's $200 more. He's had 2 better games recently than Hunter, but I still think Hunter personally is a better play. So if I'm going to pick between the 2, I'm going to give the edge to Hunter. I might play both, to be honest, on this 3-game slate. It's looking like I might. Kenny S, I like him as the ADPer. You're getting him at a discount off those 2 guys. I think he's a pretty safe play at that price. And don't even mind getting to value here for Jax and Armanac. Jax at 7K, Armagnac at 6K. I would prefer Jax if you're looking just for value there. I know he's a little bit more expensive than Armagnac, but yeah, all in all, G2 is a team that I think you've got to have interest in an early slate. The guys at the top, I think I prefer Hunter being my favorite play. Don't mind Nexa either. I think you can play both. Kenny S in the mid range kind of their ADP. You're getting him at a discount off those top guys. I think he's pretty solid, and the two value guys I think as well. So really, not a whole lot of bad things I can say about G2. But again, this is kind of the same thing I said about FaZe yesterday, and we saw what FaZe did today. They really struggled. So anything can happen. If you want to get risky and fade one of these big favorites, whether it be G2 or Mouse Esports, you can. For me, probably, I usually lean more towards the safe side with picking and choosing a risky play here and there, but I'll probably get at least 2 G2 players on my lineup here for the early slate. On the Copenhagen Flames side, again, they are big dogs. There's one guy that intrigues me here. Let me go to HLTV.org. Again, there's a lot of good info here, guys. Godsent did edge out Copenhagen Flames today, but it was close. And even in a loss, Farlake put up a 71 to 56 kill death ratio. So, yeah, he is the guy that obviously has the most upside. You're going to have to pay a premium, but I do have interest in him as a contrarian option. Again, we've seen it from CSGO recently, last few days. There's been a lot of big upsets, so anything can happen. If they're going to pull off this upside, we're probably going to see an upset. We're probably going to see a big game here from Farlake. So I have interest in him as a contrarian option. Everyone else on the team probably don't get to them. But yeah, maybe if I'm going a little bit more risky, I might take a shot on Farlake there at that price. Let's talk about Godsent versus North. So I believe I have. Let's see. Do I have this up here? Oh yeah, Godsent. Okay, so they just beat Copenhagen Flames today. Let's talk about Godsent first. So. Maiden had the best day at plus 16. He is the most expensive at 8.2K. Next you had Styko go positive at plus 6. He's at 7.6K. So yeah, the two guys that did the best today are the highest priced guys. Their fantasy points per game aren't great, but they have been tougher matchups in the past. This is the game that I think is going to swing the slate because it's one that's projected to stay close. It could go either way in my opinion. I still kind of like a guy like Makalele here at 5.6K. I don't think he has massive upside, but we've seen in games that they've won, right? He can put up 40, 50 fancy points, 5.6K. That's decent for that price. So yeah, probably would be looking to, maybe Makalele there for value or Madden or Styko there at the top if you want to go that direction. Personally, I'm probably going to spend up for the favorites, right, on the G2 side, the Mouse Esports side. I think that's a safe way to go. But if you want to spend up on Godsent, I think that's going to go a little bit more contrarian on the slate, but definitely still in play. On the North side, let's see, they did upset, here, let me go to... Do I have one of their recent matches up here? I don't think I do. Let's see if they have it on there. Who did they play last? Oh, it was Mouse Esports. It was a really surprising 2-0 there against one of the best teams in the world. So yeah, we can look to see how they all did in that game. AZ put up 59. I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name. He put up 74. Cajun B put up 53 in that game. Gade put up 63. MSL put up 65. So, yeah, again, in this game, I'd probably be looking more towards the value side. Personally, I like spending up on those favorites. But if you want to get contrarian and spend up on the North side or the Godsent side, I don't think that's the worst idea. But personally, for me, in this game, I'll probably be looking for more value plays. So that kind of wraps up for that one. Lastly, we'll talk about Mouse Esports versus Contact. So Mouse Esports, again, pretty big favorites here at minus 600. They did surprisingly get upset there against North 2-0'd. But their prices did drop because of that, which I really like. I think I'm going to go right back to the well with Mouse Esports, at least for the early slate. Rops and Frozen, the duo. I know they've been a little bit disappointing recently, but we've seen them have really solid days, or really solid games against better teams They should be able to have their way here. Should. So I like Rops a lot. I like Frozen a lot. I think these guys are, again, you're getting them a little bit of a discount because of recent performances, but this is a much better matchup. They should be able to win this one. Woxic, their ADP, I think, is fine in the mid-range. I think I would prefer Kenny S on the G2 side for a little bit more. But Woxic is fine. And then, even guys like Kerrigan and Chris J, not guys that have huge upside, but Mouse Esports, again, they're huge favorites. They should be able to win this one. I think those are guys that you can look to for value as well. So again, brief overview again. I think for safety, I'm looking for the Mouse Esports side and the G2 side. I'll probably get at least 2 from each side, and then mix and maybe get a value play from one of the dogs or on this Godsent North game. All right, so that basically wraps up for the early slate. Let's talk about the main slate now. We got 6 games to talk about for this one. Let me get to the right one. Still a decent tournament here. $12 entry, $15 or $15,000 to first. All right, let's take a look at some Vegas odds here. So we have NS versus Complexity. Complexity minus 150 favorites. Fnatic, again, they surprisingly got upset today versus Team Heretics, who had a big win there against Complexity. Fnatic still favorites, though. Pretty big favorites at minus 385. Team Dignitas versus Team Vitality. Vitality minus 245 favorites. Bad News Bears and MIBR. MIBR minus 265 favorites. And then we have 2 pretty heavy favorites here at the later games. Furia versus Furia minus 1,600. Huge favorites. And Team Liquid versus Team MV. Liquid also huge favorites here at minus 950. All right, so let's talk about the first game here, Vitality versus Team Dignitas. On the Vitality side, so, Draftkings did price up some of these top guys a little bit more. Zywoo is their main slayer here, but he's 10.2K. I think he's someone that is certainly in play because he does have that upside. We've seen 70, 80, even 90 fantasy points from him. So definitely someone I'm considering. If you're going for safety, though, again, I think you probably go for those guys that are more heavily favored. That doesn't make Zywoo out of play. I think he makes it a pretty good GPP play. And again, I think that price tag does scare some people away. Again, in my opinion, though, I think he is a little bit more contrarian. Other options on this team, RPK at 9.2. I don't think I get to him. I think Shox and Apex here are fine, kind of in the mid-tier. I think, again, this game maybe was a little bit forgotten about. Apex at 6.6. He's flashed a little bit of upside, right? He put up 84 last game. So, yeah, he's a little bit more up and down, but he is a cheap price tag, and at least he has flashed out upside. So that's probably where I'd look to there on the Vitality side. On the Dignitas side, let's go to them really quick, and that really, really surprising win over Fnatic. So we can look at their box score here. It was Get Right that had the big day there at plus 12 overall. He was 88 and 76. The guy who really struggled was Zist at minus 24. Everyone else was plus 2, plus 2, plus 1. So let's take a look at their prices. They are dogs here, but not huge dogs. Plus 195 to minus 245. So Get Right was the guy that had the big day today. He's the highest priced guy, but he is only 7.6K. So another one of those guys I think is in play and does have the upside, right? Put up 91 there against Orglis, had a pretty big day today. So he's more of a contrarian GPP play, but definitely someone I'm interested in. Zist, I probably don't get there at 4.4. The other options here with Forrest, Halzerk, and Freiberg, probably my next favorite play there would be Halzerk, just because of the price tag at 6.6K. But yeah, I think that really does it for the first game. Let's talk about the next game here, Complexity versus NS. So this one, again, is sitting at this one's expected to stay pretty close. Complexity minus 150. And one thing I really wanted to bring up here was Config's price. I don't really know what Draftkings is doing. I believe it was like 9.6 or 9.8K for the slate today. They dropped him all the way down to 6.8K. That is just insane. So I think he really stands out, I believe, here. I know he struggled today against Team Heretics, where the config, he was minus 14. But he's shown, he's had the most upside overall and Complexity. And you're getting him at a severe discount off of Blame F and Poison. So my favorite play here in Complexity is config. I know he had an off day, but his price dropped significantly. So I think he is probably my favorite play here in Complexity. The value guys, Oboe and Rush, don't know if I get to them. I think Poison in the mid-tier is a fine option as well, but my favorite probably being Config because, yeah, he got about a 3K price drop from yesterday or from today till tomorrow's slate. All right, let's talk about the Ennis side. So this one there was a decently close series. Took Ninjas in Pajamas to 3 maps, but did fall. If we look at their performance, it was Alu who had the big day in a losing effort, 77 and 58. Now, he is the most expensive guy here at 8.2K. But again, we've seen that upside, even in a losing effort, he put up pretty big numbers, and you're getting him at a pretty big discount off of those like really high-priced guys, like in the 9 to 10K range. So sure, Alu's a guy that kind of like Zaiwu, I think is certainly in play because he does have that upside. Maybe goes a little bit lower owned because they're not the biggest favorites of the day. But again, you're getting him at a discount off those guys at the top. Other options, Sergey had a pretty decent day there, 72 and 70 in a losing effort. He is pretty cheap. He is 6.6K, so I think he would probably be my next favorite play there on the NS side. So yeah, I think that really does it for that game. We can move on now to Heretics versus Team Fnatic. So this one right now is sitting at Fnatic, pretty big favorites after getting surprisingly upset today. Fnatic minus 385, Team Heretics plus 285. I guess what we can do is we can look at Heretics first. So yeah, I'm a little bit tilted here because Heretics was a team that was definitely playing really well, but they weren't playing against the best competition. They had a tougher matchup here against Complexity, and just because of their recent performances, I thought they'd be a little bit more popular. People will just box score watching. And of course, they come out and take like one of the games went to like triple overtime, just put up huge numbers. Maka especially, I mean, I can't deny it. He was plus 40, 92, and 52. Now, I think a lot of people are going to see that, and he's going to be really, really chalky for this one. Oh, I don't know if I should say really, really chalky because it's a much tougher matchup against Fnatic, one of the best teams, if not the best team. But we've seen the upside from him. Right, like 99, 93, 99, and just put up a huge fantasy point game today. I think he had over 100 easily. So you have to have consideration for him at that price. I'm going to be interested to see what his ownership is going to be for tomorrow because he's been playing really well. Again, kind of against worse competition, but against a better team against Complexity. Still put up huge numbers. Now he gets Fnatic. So yeah, he's obviously someone you can look to. Navarra and Lucky as well. This team has really been rolling recently. Again, I know they haven't played the best competition, but Complexity is a better team, and they had they took them, and now again they get Fnatic. So this is a team that is certainly viable for GPPs. If you want to get one or two pieces from here, we've seen the upside from Maka, Navarra, Lucky. Those are probably the guys I would look to. On the Heretic side and the Fnatic side, they are pretty big favorites, but again, anything can happen, and Heretics has been on fire recently. So if we're looking at guys at the top, Brolin, Crims, and Flusha, normally I prefer Brolin and Crims to Flusha, but you're getting Flusha at about $1,000 discount off Crims, $1,200 off Brolin. So Flusha for his price, I think, stands out as a pretty decent option here. Sure, he is a little bit up and down, but I think for that price, it makes a pretty decent play. Also, don't mind JW. I ran him today for the early slate. He was pretty solid. He's their ADPer. I think at a price of 6.4K, makes her a pretty good value option. All right, let's move on to Envy versus Team Liquid. So I guess not super surprised, but I didn't think it would be this high of a line here. Team Liquid minus 950 favorites over Team Envy. On the Team Envy side, yeah, it's basically, they're really risky plays, but Calyx is a guy that if Envy can keep this close or even, put them over their edge and get an upset, he is going to be a main reason. He's only 7K. So another one of those guys that we know the upside is there. If you want to take a shot on a low-owned guy, I don't mind that. Everyone else, I don't think it's a Nifty or Michu there. The only other guy to consider is Moose, just because that price at 4.4K is a really cheap price tag. Not a guy that has enormous upside, but one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest plays of the slate, and he's been decent recently, right? 32, 50, 64 fancy points. So I think he's an okay option. I'm not obviously excited about because they're big dogs, but those are the two guys I look to on the MB side. On the Team Liquid side, Elige is the guy that obviously has the most upside, but you're going to have to pay a premium for him, 10.6K. Now, again, we saw with Nico, there's nothing's guaranteed. Nico had a cakewalk cake matchup today and is completely laid an egg. Elige is a guy that obviously has huge upside, but you just never know. Now, again, I think if you want to jam him in, I think there is enough value you can. But it is a little bit tougher now because of that price tag. So Elige, there's really not a whole lot of downsides to say about him besides really the price. Naf is the number 2 guy, but yeah, 9.4K. That's kind of a lot too. Now recently he has had really good games, right? 132, 73, 86 fantasy points. So yeah, you can definitely run a liquid stack if you want to pair Elige with Naf. Those guys have huge upside, but you're just gonna have to pay premiums for them. As far as the value guys, I think some of these guys are decent in the mid-range, like Twist and Stewie 2K. Not guys that have enormous upside, but a game they should win at 7K price tag. Those are guys that I'm eyeing. I even don't mind Nitro at 5.6K. This is kind of the same situation of Olafmeister for FaZe. I wasn't overly excited about it, but just because of the price tag and just because they're heavily favored, I think he does make for a decent value option here at 5.6K. All right. Next, we'll talk about MIBR versus Bad News Bears. So MIBR minus 265 favorites. They had an off game there last game against Team Liquid. Fallen is 10K. He does have some pretty big upside here. He's shown some really, really nice plays, some 1v4s, 1v5s. I like Fallen here. I know you have to pay premium for him, but I think he's a really, really solid play, a really solid spend up. I really like Fur as well at 7.8K. Now, if I'm going to pick between the two of Fallen and Fur, I'm probably going to give the edge to Fur here just because of the price tag of 7.8K. He is their number 2. He is a guy that does have upside, can put up 70, 80 fantasy points. So, yeah, I like Fallen and Fur. If you're going to make me choose, though, I'm just going to give the edge to Fur for the price tag. And don't even mind KNGV as well. He is, their number 3 guy, but he has shown some decent upside as well. Not as much as Fallen and Fur, obviously, but you're getting him at a little bit of a discount. So, and then even Mayern at 5.8K, I think for value makes for a decent option. I don't think I get to Taco or Botco, as a lot of people call him. So yeah, that kind of really wraps up for MIBR. I think for his price tag probably is my favorite play, but I like Fallen at the top if you can get to him. Even KNGV or Mayer in there on the cheaper end. On the Bad News Bears side, so they're dogs, not huge underdogs, plus 200 to minus 265. Dapper's the guy I'm looking to as a contrarian option. He is a little bit up and down, but if they can pull off this upset, you can see he does have some pretty big upside, right? 94, 79 fancy points. So if you want to get risky, if you want to take a shot on a low-owned guy, Dapper's someone that has flashed at upside, and if they're going to pull off the upside, you're probably going to see a big game from him. Everyone else, I don't think I get to anyone really. I mean, I guess Dazzle at 4.6K is a pretty cheap price tag, but really it would kind of be Dapper, and that's about it for me. Lastly, we have versus Furia. So, Furia are the biggest favorites of the day here at minus 1,600 over So, is a team I'll probably be fully avoiding. I don't think we have to do it in this slate, and they're such big dogs, I just don't think it makes sense. So, Furia is a team that, this is where I think we can look to for cash game format, right? They should be able to win this one pretty easily. Should be able to get that sweet bonus as well, so an extra 20 points for each player. Quesarado at the top at 10.4K. You're going to have to pay a premium, but I think he's a pretty safe option. In such an easy matchup, I think he's probably can get you somewhere between 70, 80, even 90 fancy points. So if you're looking just for safety on a spend up, him, again, Elige, those two heavily favorited teams, guys, I think those guys you can look to for safety. Henny versus Yuri. Henny's been really solid recently, but he's getting a pretty big price hike. I would prefer Yuri at 8.4K. I think you're, off a discount off those guys at the top. Kind of the same situation as Fur and Fallen, right? I like Fallen a lot, but I would just prefer Fur for this price tag. It's basically the same analysis here for me. I really like Quesarado if you can get to him, but I prefer Yuri for his price tag there at 8.4K. Art and Vinny as cheaper options, I think are still doable just because they're such big favorites. Like Vinny, not a guy that has enormous upside, right? But this is a game that should be able to 2-0, and you can probably get at least 50 to 60 fancy points from him. So he's someone I'm definitely looking to for value. Don't mind Art either. And then, yeah, if we're looking just for captains, right? So I think, guys at the top that are interesting for safety, if we're just looking for a safety for a cash game format, right? Like an Elige, Fallen, those heavily favored guys. Even Fnatic, I know they're not super heavy favorites, but they are one of the best teams in Counter-Strike. And then, kind of in the mid-tier, guys like Fur, guys like Yuri even. And then, cheaper options, right? Those guys that are on those really heavy favored teams, right? Like Furia, like Vinny here at 6K. Or like JW for Fnatic, right? So that's probably what I'd look to if you're just looking for safety for the captain spot. If you're looking for a little bit more of low-owned guys that does have upside, right? So maybe a guy like Zaibu, right? That game's expected to stay close. He's at, you're going to have to pay a premium for him, but we've seen upside from him. We've seen upside from, let's see, Dapper is a guy that I know they're dogs, but if Bad News Bears can pull off the upset, we've seen big games from him. This team Heretic side, I know they are dogs here against Fnatic, but they have just been playing out of their minds. Mako especially here at 8K, just put up like over 100 fancy points. I think he's averaging over 100 fancy points right now the last 4 games, so definitely someone you can look to. I'm really intrigued to see what his ownership is going to be like going up against a really tough match there against Fnatic. Get right? Dignitas has pulled off an upside. He's at 7.6K. I think he's someone you can certainly look to as a more contrarian option. Calyx, right? Envy. Huge dogs. But if they can somehow take it to 3 games or even pull off the upset, you're getting him at a really cheap price tag there at 7K. But yeah, I think that really wraps up, guys, for the breakdown of the early slate as well as the main slate for CSGO on Draftkings. So, if you guys have been enjoying the content so far, would really appreciate if you could like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. We are over 3,000 subscribers, I believe 3.12. I'm going to continue to grind out these esports videos until we get the regular sports back like NBA, NFL. So yeah, thanks again for everyone to come and check the video. Hope you guys all stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you all in the next one.